Let's keep it going here in the KUAM News Zoom room where we're going to bring on Democrat Senator Clynt Ridgell, who was also in attendance at the meeting yesterday. We'll bring him on. Good morning, Senator.
Hi.
His audio is connecting. Hang on, guys. There you go. Right. Well, thanks for joining us, Senator. Really just kind of because it was a closed-door meeting and we weren't privy to what went on in it. We're trying to piece together all the information, and it's really interesting to get so many different perspectives from one meeting. But what was yours? What was your perspective on this meeting?
There was a good meeting. I mean, there really wasn't much discussed as far as details are concerned. It was really seemed primarily like a meeting it seemed like the governor just wanted to meet with us face to face and tell us that she received our priorities for spending of what we would like to see spent, and to tell us that she largely agreed with most of what we had and that we're sort of on the same page, and we seem to have a lot of the same priorities. That's really all that was discussed in the meeting.
Were you expecting more? Were you expecting more?
No, I actually wasn't.
Are you anticipating the governor to submit what her priorities are, her plan?
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that they're going to have to submit eventually. I mean, part of it is, part of this ARP money is available for to make up for lost revenues, right? So any shortfalls in government revenues due to the pandemic is available for that. But there's a formula that has to be followed. It was just released actually, I think yesterday. U.S. Department of Treasury released their interim final rule, whatever that means, but they basically released some guidance on it. There's some FAQ sheets on it as well. And I did look at those, and in it, they explained that there's a formula involved with determining how you can utilize that money for lost revenues. Basically, you have to justify that this is lost revenue, and there's a formula for that. So they're going to have to do that anyway in order to submit it to the federal government to get approval, and they're going to have to submit their spending plan to the federal government for approval anyway. So then I'm sure they'll make it public at the same time. My understanding is that it seems like they're still finalizing things, especially because the guidance just that was released. Yeah, I believe it was released yesterday. I think they're probably going to have to change a lot of things. I know the governor said in the meeting yesterday that she still wanted to use $300 million for construction of a hospital. Now, in my simple, plain, quick reading of sort of some of the guidance there, I don't know if you can use that money for the construction of a new hospital. So I still think there's a lot of things. Maybe you can, but my point is I still think there's a lot of things that need to be reviewed by the administration to see what the money can actually be used for before they can really move forward with a full plan. And because the guidance just came out yesterday, they're still going to have to review all of the guidance and make sure that they're making their plan based on what's allowable according to the guidance that's been released so far.
Right. And, Congressman Nicholas, he did hold that press conference right before the 2:30 meeting, and he was talking about the guidance and kind of walking everybody, all the media through it and the public, and what the money can be used for, what it can't be. And he did say, like, with specifically for the hospital, he said that he could see it fitting in to the guidelines to get this new hospital going. There were other things that he didn't see could be used, like for the funding for a Guam Ethics Commission. He said that's probably going to be a hard sell to get the ARP money. Did you get a chance to watch that press conference at all?
No, I didn't watch the press conference, but I did review some of the guidance that came out on the U.S. Treasury's website. So they've got their interim final rule on their website, and they've got some FAQ sheets and some other things that I was able to look at.
So
Uh,
based on your review of the U.S. Treasury guidelines, did you see anything in there in comparison to the legislature's priorities, your plan, that might not fit into the guidelines, that might have to be cut?
Well, like I said, I was not too sure about the hospital part. Now, it's not specifically in our thing, but we left, what was it, like 100, 200 million
200
over
million.
sort of for the governor to use for the hospital. So that's one thing that's in question. And yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of different things. I mean, it's a big plan that we put out as well. So I kind of have to go over the list again and really look at it. Nothing jumped out at me right away. It's just in reading the stuff from the U.S. Treasury, it just dawned on me like there might be some stuff in here that we might not be able to pay for with what we think we can use it for. Because a lot of it, okay, so you know, if there's some talk about using some of the funding for GPA, for example, the governor's kind of talked about that as well. I'm not sure if it can be used for power infrastructure yet, because it seems like what I read in the U.S. Treasury's thing, it seems like it's more meant for water and sewer infrastructure, which we have in our plan. I think I forget how many million because we changed it a bit, but we gave we have a pretty large chunk to sewer and water infrastructure, which is clearly allowable according to the guidelines from the U.S. Department of Treasury. It doesn't seem like, based on my quick reading of it, didn't seem like power was really something you can use it for. And I think that's because, you know, we got to remember here that President Biden is talking about, he's got a whole infrastructure bill that he's working on it's going to be coming down soon, that they'll be debating in the mainland. And, you know, so we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. But Biden has said he wants a real aggressive infrastructural improvement plan, and he wants to change the power grids in the U.S. towards renewable energy, which I think that's great. So I'm hoping that'll give us some funding here on Guam we can use for switching to renewables. And so, yeah, I think that's why they probably focused more on water infrastructure in the ARP.
Senator,
You know, Clynt, as a former member, did you want to say something else on this?
Go ahead. No.
Okay, yeah. As a former member of the media, what is your reaction to this whole debate on why was this meeting even closed? It should have been an open meeting. The public should have been allowed to watch it, to view it. Where do you stand?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm used to standing outside the door of these meetings like Chris was yesterday. So when I saw him, I know exactly how it feels. I stood outside the door of many a closed door meeting over my career. So it wasn't my decision to keep a closed door. If it were up to me, I would have allowed the media in. So, I mean, I'm not the one who called the meeting. It wasn't in my office or anything. So yeah, I don't know why the decision was made to not allow media in. If it were up to me, I certainly would have allowed the media into the meeting. I know what it's like to sit outside the other end of the door and wait for people to walk outside. And of course, everyone tries to run away from you. You know, I saw Chris, I tried to run away from Chris as quick as I could, you know. I thought Chris was busy with Senator Duenas, so I said, you know, I'm going to my car.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw that. No, Senator,
I'm kidding.
I guess last
you were
question.
busy with other interviews and I did have to go, so I just left.
I get it.
But yeah.
This, I guess, last question, with like your committee and your oversight assignments, since this whole like meeting and this plan, it's kind of outside the legislative process, right? That we're kind of used to in determining budgets or whatever. So what is the follow through that you have to do, or even the body as a whole with the governor to kind of walk this plan through to see it to fruition, if it's all outside of the normal legislative process? Like for you, for example, what are you going to do as an individual senator to ensure that your areas of oversight get the funding that you guys laid out in your plan?
You know, it's just going to be a matter of you know, really advocating for it, I guess, and you know, pushing for it. This is something, you know, it is very different. I think this is the first time we've ever something like this has happened to this scale. So I know a lot of people think, oh, why is this not something that the legislature can appropriate? And it's because it's federal funds and it's given directly to a governor. And I use the example of, anytime there's federal grants that come down, we can't appropriate any of those federal grants either. We plug them into the budget, and that helps us budget. So that's where we come in, is once we figure out exactly where the governor's spending plans are for the federal funds, then we can budget everything else accordingly based on that. So that's really where the legislature is going to be involved. And it's the same way any other federal grant works. For example, Department of Interior money for compact impact. We're not allowed to appropriate any of those funds because it's direct federal grant money given directly to the executive branch. And every governor is able to spend those compact impact funds any way they see fit. And they have in the past. I've seen governors in the past use it to buy iPads for the schools. And I wondered what do iPads have to do with compact impact when there's no toilet paper in the classroom? But that's a whole different story. So the point is, this is federal money that the legislature is just not able to appropriate, as is other federal grants. It's just never been given on this magnitude of 600 million. We've never seen something like this happen before. So yes, it's definitely very different. And I think the best way to keep tabs on it is through the budget process by getting the spending plan from the governor before we finish the budget, where the governor says, look, this is what I'm going to use these federal funds for these agencies. This agency is going to get X amount of federal dollars from ARP to do whatever, to build a building, whatever, et cetera. Then we can figure out what do we budget with the rest of the funding, the local funds.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for your 2 cents on the 553 million. Then next time, don't run away, son.
Wait, by the way, anything new on the cannabis control, the cannabis guidelines?
Yeah, the rules and regulations have been, the Cannabis Control Board completed their rules and regulations and sent them over to the Attorney General's office and to the governor's office. Now the Attorney General has to review it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they sent their rules and regs to the AG and the governor on 4/20 of all days. And I like to thank them for doing that. And I like to thank them for doing that, for getting it in on 4/20. So I did confirm with the AG's office that they are in receipt and they are currently reviewing the rules and regs. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. You'll have to ask the Attorney General for that. But I hope it doesn't take too long. I'm hoping it just takes, I hope it takes just a few weeks so that they can, either if there's something wrong with it, then, report it out and say, hey, there's problems with it or whatever. I just hope they get this moving as quickly as possible so we can do our part.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, guys,
Stay
we're
safe.
going to take a